Can you tell I'm in denial?
You can't stay at the top forever.
I was also very surprised when I looked at my phone and saw Joe Girardi dismissed.
Well, I think mine were with common sense.
I think now belongs in the all-time greats top 10.
Boston, I really think only got to this point because of a guy named Chris Middleton being out for the Bucks.
That power play just was unbearable. It was humming.
Man, am I happy. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew he was going to come back.
When I think of New York Yankees now is Judge, probably people in the past when Jeter was coming up.
I would be shocked. A little bit hurt.
Hey, this is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, TexasFootball.com, and Valley Sports Southwest. You are listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. This was supposed to be our anniversary video. Yes, I have not finished everything for the anniversary video, but I do think this takes precedence. Usually this date has not had crazy news like this, Austin, but however, happy anniversary for the podcast as well. And here's your anniversary gift, Micah Parsons to your team.
Yeah, you do get Kenny Clark in 2 firsts, which I think in the long term, you have to hit on the picks.
You do.
It could be beneficial because Kenny Clark is still a top defensive tackle in the league. We didn't either have him on our top 10 D lineman, but that does not include D tackle. I do think he's a top 10 D tackle in the league.
I do like Kenny Clark. And I was like, ooh, we got a big man. I was wondering if like Romeo Doubs was going to be in the trade. I'm kind of surprised Jerry got 2 picks just because of how bad of a trade person he is. But
I don't think the trade is as bad for the Cowboys as some Cowboys fans make it out to be. But you have to hit on the picks.
Yeah. And it is a bad trade. Because you really have to hit on those picks because it's kind of hard.
I don't want to say it's a bad trade. I just think it creates a lot of pressure on the Cowboys to draft extremely well.
That is a great point. My point in saying it's a bad trade is the value of Micah Parsons, which is a top 5 defensive end, incredible defensive player, does not equal to it's impossible to get that value back.
Sure. I think with Kenny Clark, though, it's at least a stopgap for now, defensive line wise. Kenny Clark is better on the run, which I do think matters, considering the fact that Micah, that's his biggest hole on defense, is the inability to be good running against the run, which is Kenny Clark's one of his fortes, is definitely against the run.
And like he's a big dude. Like, isn't he like 300 pounds? Like he's not a thin.
Easy. I mean, he's a dominant force. I really did enjoy him. Yeah.
But the thing is, it's just you take a lot away from the defense, and like you're predicting defense is going to be bad. I was like that in my head, and I was going to argue that in another video. It's hard to have a terrible defense with Micah. Now it's it's pretty easy because Micah does so much. However, I wasn't super like Micah's not like Luka to me. Like that's what people are comparing it to Luka and they're like, oh, they traded like these guys are no longer there. This you could see the build up to it, and I really think like Jerry's saying, oh, we can stop the run. I really think this was a spur of the moment thing. Jerry got sick of dealing with Micah in this contract negotiation.
Well, here's the thing: Kenny Clark isn't that old. He's still 29.
Yeah,
he turns 30 during the year. He's made 3 Pro Bowls in his career over the last 6 years that he's played. He's a good player. Like this is not, and I don't think he's like the age disparity that like an AD. He doesn't have injury concerns, in my opinion. He's played 17 games the last 3 years. I mean, he's not missed that many games in his entire career. So he's a healthy guy. He's very good against the run. He helps, I think, a lot more than many Cowboys fans will realize.
He does help. Yes.
I think, again, the run were so bad last year against the run that I think because of how bad the defense was last year, I don't know if this hurts it that much because now you can't just run the ball every play against at least his direction. Now, the problem is of Micah's age. He's still on a upward trajectory in his career. We know what Kenny Clark is. Now, he can stay like he is for a while. right? I still think he has another good 4 or 5 years left in him being a very solid D tackle, Pro Bowl level D tackle. He's been very consistent with his approximate value basically every year, around 8, 9, 10, getting Pro Bowls. And that's important. However, like you said, it's just not a superstar. It's a star. You lost a superstar for a star. And now you have to hit on these picks. If you don't hit on these picks, it will be, if you get another it's not, I was going to say Farrell. What's his name?
Oh,
the Raiders guy.
Colin Farrell. Or
I don't think
that's
it's
an
Colin.
actor. It's
Clinton Farrell. That's
Clinton,
right.
yeah.
Because I remember they drafted him 4th overall, and he was just not good.
Yeah,
I mean, his most sacks he ever got in a season was his first year in his career. It was 4.5 sacks. He still plays, I think, in the league, but he's just not been the 4th overall pick. And sure, like Mozzie or some. No, the Raiders took him.
Oh, Raiders. Got it. Wait. Oh, okay. I'm thinking of Christian Wilkins. Sorry.
I'm confused. What?
Okay. So Farrell, Kleinen Farrell was drafted number 4 overall. Yeah. What draft was this?
I think it was 2019. Yeah, 2019. Yeah, it went Kyler.
I just don't
Nick
remember.
Bosa, Quinnen Williams, Quinnen Williams, and then Clinton Farrell, and then Devin White were the top 5 picks in that draft.
Devin White was the top 5 pick?
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Okay, I do not. Yeah, I'm forgetting this draft. I don't know why. Wow. Yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah, sorry for that, but yeah, that is absolutely right. If you do not hit on that pick, and the Packers pick are not going to be that high.
True, but first round picks I do think hold still a lot of value.
They do hold value.
And I mean, there's a lot of guys that go late in drafts that become very good. And so having first, I think, is valuable. But you have to hit. You have to. And Micah, I don't think anyone really expected Micah to be as good as he was. I thought he was going to be solid. But being the player that he was and is incredible. And I do think the Packers are creeping towards Super Bowl contenders in my mind. I'm glad this happened now and not after I make my season predictions.
Yeah. Micah is just a pass rushing beast, and that's what the Cowboys are losing. Yes, they're fixing the run, and they do have a big defensive tackle now, with Kenny Clark. But the thing is, he is a star. He is not a superstar. Incredible pass rushing presence. It's hard to get that, but I think the Cowboys. The thing with this is you have 2 first-round picks next 2 drafts. I'm assuming it's the next 2 drafts or the Packers picks. So you have 4 picks to at least get some value. You have added value with those 2, but if you could, I don't see them trading up, but let's say they have a terrible year, 1 year, which I think is entirely possible. They could get in the top 5 and get a guy, but it could turn out like Klein and Farrell. But that's just something that could happen, but it is a step back. However, I didn't view the Cowboys as Super Bowl contenders. It's been
who fills in that position now? Who's next guy?
I think Sam Williams. They still have Osa, which is a good pass rushing, but I do think he was helped by Micah. Sam Williams, you have Marshawn Nealand, but Sam Williams coming from an ACL. Same thing with Marshawn Nealand. Those are the 2 guys really stepping up. They're second-round picks. I like Nealand, but the thing is, they don't have that top pass rusher anymore that Micah provided them with.
This is where I've had some disagreements with people. Do you think this is a sign that the Cowboys are going to tank this season?
No. I
completely agree. I completely agree with you.
I think it was a spur of the moment thing of Micah, of course, was not, I didn't think he handled it in the best I understand holding out, holding in, all that, talking all that, but I do think the taking a nap or acting like taking a nap on the training table, that was kind of a sign to, hey, because it's not just the ownership, you're sending that to your teammates. I think that did cross a line.
I agree. And Look, is Jerry Jones a good GM? No. But I do think that a lot of NFL fans still underrate what he did a long time ago as nothing, because people try to compare this to what Nico did, and that doesn't make any sense to me, because Jerry's at least won titles with the organization. Even if it was 30 years ago, he's at least done something to warrant making a decision like this, where with the Luka trade is unprecedented, because Luka had been with the organization longer than Nico had, right? So look, is this a bad trade? Yes, I agree. It's a bad trade if they don't hit on their picks. And because Jerry's the GM, we'll see whether or not that happens. Now, if you hit on both the picks, I think the trade's pretty fair. But I don't think this is even in the same realm of the Luka trade. I don't think it's very comparable.
Yeah, and Luka was beloved, and it was just you can find things you not like about
the Luka trade felt a lot more shady than this did. This doesn't feel shady. Yeah. This feels like a disagreement between two guys that just like, I want you gone, and the Packers were like, we'll take him, and he was like, okay. While the Luka trade felt like more of a backstab, this feels more of like a disagreement.
Yes, because it had been building up to this, and I think Jerry was great for the Cowboys 30 years ago because he knew he had some bravado, and he's like, I'm going to go get this guy, which is Jimmy Johnson, who's the GM, and he made that team happen. And you got to give credit for Jerry for finding a guy like Jimmy Johnson. But now I think he's stuck in the past. Of course, they're comparing this to Herschel Walker, which I think I was talking with someone, because I'm barely on my phone these days, which is kind of awesome, but I don't get notifications. So I heard about it, and then I talked to people about it, and it's like this could be like the Herschel Walker trade. And I'm like, I believe Jerry thinks it's the Herschel Walker trade. But the problem is there's a lot of things that I don't think he recognizes. Like the Herschel Walker trade, there are intricacies of, I cut all these players, I get all these picks, which is why it's one of the best trades. This one, it could turn out, but the problem is you have to find an equivalent. You have to regain that pass rushing threat while upgrading your run.
I don't think you necessarily have to regain the pass rushing threat. Like if you get an elite, if you get a Zach Martin level lineman and you get a really good safety or something like that with your two picks, that's worth it. But you do have to match Micah's worth, at least with Kenny Clark in the two picks. I don't think it necessarily has to be in the same position.
The aim is to get better, and I don't think you go get one pass rusher, but the Cowboys' defense with Micah, their pass rush was amazing, but their run defense was awful. Once teams found a way. But to me, rushing the quarterback is going to be the Cowboys' problem. We'll see what Sam Williams and Marshawn Nealon do. I don't think they can equivalent, but if equivalent or match that, but we'll have to see. But I think Jerry and he already compared it to the Herschel Walker trade, but to me, he finally, because I was so confident today, I'm like, guys, he's just going to sign the deal on the first day of the season. I think I sent it a text. I'm like, extension's going to be signed on the first day, because ever since the Zeke deal with Jerry, players have their way with him. Yes, there are holdouts like you had with CD, Dak, and all that, but they still got the money. They got the contract they wanted. Jerry didn't win a deal. In this scenario, Jerry didn't necessarily win, but he did, to me, show players, hey, I'm not a pushover. If you're going to do this, and I do think the Dak deal played a lot of this, because dealing with the agent, he's not going to be the highest quarterback anymore. It's all going to change. That didn't happen. Dak is still the highest paid quarterback, and he is going to be for a while. And so when Jerry's hearing, this is where it goes bad GM, because he didn't do his own research. But when he's hearing, the contract's going to be done, like, don't worry about this, people are going to pay someone more than this, he didn't believe that. So he didn't want to invest that much money, and he'd rather get first-round picks, save money in cap space to pay Tyler Smith and other guys and invest in that line. because we have to see what happens at left tackle.
Yeah, I'm going to give Jerry the benefit of the doubt here more than a lot of people will. I don't think this is as bad as a lot of people think. And, well, I do think it has the potential to be a catastrophic trade. I think that's totally, and I do think this increases the chances for the Packers to win a Super Bowl this year. And I'm excited the Packers have Micah. I don't think this is as bad as some people are saying. I just think because of what has been on the front of the mind of the Dallas sports population, they immediately are just affected by this more than if it was another team making a deal of this magnitude.
Yeah, that's a great point of what's on. And it's the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to be heavily talked about.
That's
and
true.
It's
If you combine those with what happened with Luka, it makes it to where any trade was going to be one that was seen in a bad light until the Cowboys give the fans something to cheer about.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think the main story is Cowboys, but I am very interested to see how Micah is used with the Packers. Of course, he's going to pass rush, but what happens to the Packers defense? Because they're a good defense, but this does give them another level, I would say.
I agree. And we've been missing that pass rusher in my mind. I still think they needed a pass rusher. And now that they got, we were tied to Myles Garrett, and then we've been tied to Trey Hendrickson, and now we actually got Micah. I do think this is extremely helpful for the Packers defense because getting at least one pass rusher, a dominant one, can really make your defense scarier than if you didn't have one. Because it makes it to where now in 2nd and 8, you got to be like, are we going to run this here and try to get a 3rd and 4 to make it to where you could run it or pass it? Or are you going to pass it and have to risk it being 3rd and 14? So I think that this is a good trade for the Packers. It's a lot less risky for the Packers, but I think it still has a potential for the Cowboys to win this trade if they hit on both of their picks.
It is, and it depends on how well they hit on those picks.
Sure.
You have to get all-pro player.
I don't necessarily think 2 all-pro players are necessary.
No, but
two very good starters.
I think one I know Pro Bowl's not a thing or not as good.
I don't think Pro Bowl is how you should. I think All Pro is a way you can talk about a player, but I think Pro Bowl is a little bit too vague because just because you make one doesn't mean you deserved it.
Yeah, you want he's got to be a top starter. I
think as long as you're a top 15 starter at the position, and there's 2 of those, I think that's solid.
It's solid. It's a higher hill to climb to win this trade.
Because if you get 2 top 15 starters and you also have Kenny Clark, who I think is a top 10 DT,
yeah.
You're enough at those positions that I think maybe we can even go top 10 at their position. Three top 10 guys at their position.
Yeah, to me, you have to find a way to where you have a decent pass rush and you can rush the passer, but also stop the run, which Kenny Clark helps with. We'll have to see what happens. But you have to wait and see what happens, and it's harder to prove that you won the trade because the Packers got a proven commodity who is a top defensive talent.
True. I still think the Cowboys can win this trade, but I feel like it's impossible for the Packers to lose it, if that makes any sense.
Yes. Because the Packers could win a Super Bowl with Micah, and Micah could be the MVP of that.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people say the Packers got their new Reggie White, and I think that's the perfect way to put it.
Yeah, and Micah statistically has connections to Reggie White.
Yep.
Yeah. We both agree it's a bad trade, but just not one of the worst trades, unless they fail on these.
I don't think this is even remotely close to the worst deals even Jerry Jones has made.
No.
So
I
don't think it's that bad. You could say you don't like it, which I can agree with, but
yeah,
I don't think it's that bad. I don't think this is he needs to immediately resign as GM bad.
No.
He's had some of those moments.
I just wish he would relinquish control and just have a coach that runs a team and a GM that runs a team. Because here's the thing. If you had a GM, let's say a GM does this. I make this Micah trade. I get you to sell on it. if those picks turn out bad, that GM's gone. Not with Jerry. Jerry's gonna be like, oh well, I learned my lesson, which is like,
Yeah,
I got money out of it.
We'll see. This trade won't be. I don't want to compare it to the Juan Soto deal, but it kind of is in some sense because we're not going to know for a couple of years whether or not this trade is actually as bad as we think it is.
Yeah, I just think you and I agree. It's bad. It's hard to win it unless you hit on these picks.
Yeah. And I would say it's impossible for the Packers to lose it unless Micah is,
unless Micah leaves in a year.
Well, he signed a 4-year extension already.
Yeah, but unless he's like, hey, I'm done with this. I don't like the cold or something like that.
He went to Penn State. I find that really hard to believe.
I know. But I'm just saying it have to be something crazy like I want out of this city in a year.
Sure.
Or two.
Sure. But the chances of that are below 0.1%. They're very small.
Yeah, very small. Cowboys, there's a lot of room to fail. So that concludes our anniversary video. There actually will be one, but this, of course, is happening on the day of our anniversary where sports news hasn't happened until now. So that's great. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.